Have you ever thought about how much confidence you would have if you didn't have anxiety? Think about this. So I'm getting on the freeway right now, right? So when you first learn to drive, a lot of times you're nervous to get on the freeway, right? You have anxiety about it because you've never done it. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how fast the cars are going to go. You know that getting in the freeway, getting on the freeway, getting off the freeway are different speeds than actually being on the freeway. And you have anxiety, and because you have no confidence. You've never done it before. You've never practiced it. As you continue to get on the freeway more and more, or something you have to do because you live in a commuter city like I do in Los Angeles, your confidence starts going up, your anxiety starts going down. Now, if you're a person that continues to be anxious about the freeway, say the first time you got on it, you got in an accident. So you have a little bit of PTSD, so you have more anxiety. And because you have more anxiety, and it's something you need to go through, your confidence stays down. So if there's something that you want to be confident about, you want to get better at, one, if something happened, like say you got in an accident when you first got on the freeway, you have to deal with that situation, with that trauma. Like, it's not a major trauma, but it is something that you went through and it hurt you. It got to you. You're like, dang, I never want to go on the freeway again. I don't like the freeway. The freeway is a bad place. The freeway is a place I can get hurt. If that starts becoming your mindset, which is a fear-based mindset, you will never have the confidence to be on the freeway. And if you don't have the confidence, you're more than likely to get another accident. Because why? You're extra on alert, but on an alert as in a rigid alert. Like you may not flow with traffic as well. You know what I mean? Because traffic, you go in and out a little bit, you go slow, you go fast. But say you're nervous. So I'm only gonna go 55 miles on the freeway. But that's not every freeway. So even though you're being, observant and you're paying attention, 55 on most freeways, unless it's traffic or something, is not gonna cut it. Someone might hit you, especially if they're coming on the on-ramp and you're right next to them going 55 and they can't get on, like something could happen. Like they're not expecting that you're going that slow. So when it comes to gaining confidence, we have to deal with the things that are causing our anxiety so we can have that confidence. So just like in the freeway example, it's like anything else in life. The first time I did public speaking, I ran for class president for my pharmacy school class as the first year. It was for the first year class. And I had never really given a speech in front of a lot of people before. And when I got up there, my voice shook like crazy. Like I didn't even know that was gonna happen because I hadn't done it before. And I had so much anxiety from it. It was crazy. That was still about the time when I felt like I could never speak on social media. I could never talk in front of people. And this past month, when I was in Miami and I had to do an impromptu speech in front of less people, but still people, I was so nervous. But when I went up there, I was able to speak clearly. I didn't have a trembling voice, but I didn't have that because I had spoken so many times, even if it wasn't to a large audience, because I can always improve, but I've spoken more to people in different capacities. So my anxiety for me has gone down and I built up confidence, and that, even though I think back to that time where my voice was trembling and I felt so embarrassed, I don't let that get to me. Like I don't say, hey, I'm not going to do it because that could happen again. I know it's not going to happen again because I know that I've practiced and built up the confidence to do it. I know that little traumatic moment for me is gone because I've given myself the exposure. A lot of times, like say people have like social anxiety, they worry about what people are saying about them or if they say the wrong thing. This is a situation where we have to expose ourselves to the elements, to the people. Like you take little steps, may go to a networking event. Maybe you talk to one person. Maybe you go to another one, you talk to 2 people. Maybe you go another one, you talk to 3 people. You take little steps to get where you need to be, but you don't stop. If there's somewhere you want to be, there's an amount of confidence that you want to have, you have to continue to put yourself out there. Because more than likely, if you think about it, you know what is holding you back. A lot of times we know. We may ignore it, but we know. You may not be able to love a person because of what you went through in the past, maybe with your parents or with another significant other who cheated on you. Like the freeway. You don't want to get on the freeway because you were hit the first time. We have to work through these things and be open to doing a deep dive into ourselves. Doing a deep dive will allow us to know what's causing our anxiety so we can take over. Like, one of the things that caused me a lot of anxiety was my relationship with my father. So he would say things to me that would cause me fear when I was younger. And it was very traumatic for me because I was always tiptoeing around him. Even though I was a good kid, he always acted like I was like the worst thing ever, doing so many bad things. But as I started dealing with my anxiety, I realized that these things had bothered me for years and years, and I had to let them go. So basically that's what I did. And I did that by, silently forgiving my parents for the things that they did wrong, or silently forgiving him for those times, because he didn't know that it was doing that to me. He wasn't trying to do it on purpose. He was a person living his life with kids, just like I'm living my life with kids. And like people say, like, you don't realize anything about your parents until you have kids, because then you're like, dang. Like, I want my kids to have all the best, be the best, see the best, all that stuff, but I still have limitations that I'm working on and that I have to focus on. Like, no matter what, I cannot give them all of my focus. If I was a perfect person, I could, but I can't because I'm not. So I say that to say, when there's something that's keeping you down or keeping you away from something that you want, or you're stuck in anxiety and you don't have the confidence to do something because you're constantly stuck, deep dive into yourself and see and pay attention to how you feel, or pay attention when you're around someone. Like, we have triggers. Triggers can be anything: a color, a person. It could be anything. A color, a person, a house, a subject, a smell. So many things are triggers. I actually have a free ebook on triggers. I'll post it below. Check it out. It talks about triggers, what they are, how to help get over them, and negative emotional triggers, because there are some triggers that are really good. And as well as that, check out my story. I have a book. It's called Silent Suicide, which is kind of what we call anxiety, because anxiety manifests as stress in your life, which increases hormones and steroids in your body that over time can cause an increase in a cardiovascular event, such as a heart attack or stroke. And because of that, it's kind of a slow killing of ourselves, because these are usually things that we can control. Like, you can be stressed about there could be something in your life that you need to fix, or say you have financial issues, you don't have enough money to pay for something. You can do one of two things. You can stress about it, or you could not. But if you decide to stress about it over and over and over every single day, you're doing your body such a disservice. So that's the book. I talk about it a bit. It goes through my story with anxiety. I dealt with anxiety for over 20 years. I had an anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety with panic attack. Now, as a psychiatric pharmacist, I talk to patients every day about the same things that I went through. And due to my expertise and my experience, I can help them, and I help them get through their issues. So my name is Dr. Chandra Smallwood. Thank you for coming to my channel. Please subscribe, share, like. I'm here to help you increase your confidence as well as decrease your anxiety, because they kind of work hand in hand. I used to be just an anxiety coach, but now I call myself a confidence over anxiety coach, because we want to focus on the positive. The positive of decreased anxiety is increased confidence. So let's get those confidences up. Have a great night.